For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. The Israeli military has begun its ground offensive in Gaza City, Palestine's last large urban area that's not been reduced to rubble, though parts have been destroyed. Thousands of people are streaming out in their vehicles laden with belongings. Hundreds of thousands more remain. Israel's military says it aims to destroy Hamas military infrastructure. The European Union is urging Israel to stop the offensive, which critics say is laying the path for ethnic cleansing. This is the United Nations Independent Inquiry Commission says Israel has met 4 of 5 thresholds for genocide. Navi Pillay is with the commission.
The commission concludes that the Israeli authorities and Israeli security forces have the genocidal intent to destroy, in whole or in part, the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. The Commission therefore concludes that the State of Israel bears responsibility for the failure to prevent genocide, for the commission of genocide, and for the failure to punish genocide against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip.
Doctors in Gaza's largest functioning hospital say they could be overwhelmed as Palestinians flee the fighting. Health authorities said last week they would not evacuate Gaza City's 2 hospitals, and doctors will not leave their patients unattended. Meanwhile, dozens of Palestinians have gathered in the city of Ramallah in the occupied West Bank today to participate in the International Day of Hunger Strike in solidarity with the people of Gaza against what they say is Israeli aggression and genocide, noting hunger strike is taking place in 100 cities across the world. Meanwhile, Secretary of State Marco Rubio meets with Qatari officials today in the wake of Israel's bombing of Qatar's capital Doha, targeting Hamas negotiators. Rubio met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu Monday and doubled down U.S. ironclad support for the country. President Donald Trump says the U.S. military bombed a boat allegedly carrying drugs from Venezuela, killing 3 people aboard the vessel. It comes 2 weeks after the U.S. launched a military strike on what the Trump administration was a drug-carrying speedboat from Venezuela that killed 11 people. Venezuela said the vessel was a fishing boat. FBI Director Kash Patel is testifying before the Senate Judiciary Committee, defending his social media posts in the wake of conservative Charlie Kirk's killing that prematurely said a suspect was in custody. That suspect released, which Patel noted, calling the post transparency. He also faced a grilling by Illinois Democrat Senator Dick Durbin over his firings of FBI staff who worked on January 6th prosecutions and then installed Trump loyalists.
In fact, according to former acting FBI Director Brian Driscoll, in a lawsuit filed last week, Director Patel made this very plain, telling Driscoll personally, quote, that his own job depended on the removal of agents who worked on the cases against the president, end quote. And even though he knew, quote, the nature of summary findings were likely illegal. At the same time, Director Patel has installed MAGA loyalists as political appointees in key career positions, including conspiracy theorist Dan Bongino as FBI Deputy Director, the first time in the history of the FBI that this position has not been held by a career FBI agent.
Senator Dick Durbin. Prosecutors are looking at filing a capital murder charge against the Utah man jailed in the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Charges against 22-year-old Tyler Robinson are expected to come today ahead of his first court hearing. Prosecutors in Utah County are considering several charges, including aggravated murder, which could bring the death penalty. Vice President J.D. Vance hosted this week's episode of The Charlie Kirk Show from his White House office Monday as Republicans seek to normalize Kirk's far-right ideologies and canonize him. Kirk espoused the white supremacist Great Replacement theory, saying it's underway at the southern border to replace white rural America, and they won't stop until you and your children and your children's children are eliminated, he said. He also blamed black people for crime, said the Civil Rights Act was a huge mistake, and in 2023 railed against affirmative action, saying several high-profile black women, including former First Lady Michelle Obama and Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, did not, quote, have the brain processing power to be taken really seriously. You had to go to steal a white person's slot to be taken somewhat seriously, unquote. Vice President Vance hailed his legacy.
Charlie was a visionary. He was a luminary.
I'm Christina Onnested reporting for Pacifica Radio.